You are listening to Transference on Triple R. Now, I mentioned earlier in the show I had the chance to speak to Karen Elson, excuse me, about a week ago about her debut album, The Ghost Who Walks. So I'm going to play you that little interview now, and then I'm going to play you some of the tracks from the record. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Excellent. Have they been keeping you busy?
Oh my God, yes. I'm talking so much I'm going to lose my voice before I sing tonight.
Oh God! Well, we'll keep it snappy.
No.
You can communicate in I don't know, in Morse code or something. Just tap on the desk.
Perfect.
Excellent. So this album feels like, you know, for someone who's been following your musical career, it feels like it's been a while coming. Did you sort of feel like you've been percolating it for a long time?
You know, it's been in my head for a long time, you know, making the record. I definitely, for the past 10 years, have been writing songs and performing in this cabaret. I'm in the Citizens Band cabaret, and it's been a big part of my life, but it was always sort of a secret passion or something that I only got a chance a few times a year to sort of get out and perform. But
yeah.
It was quite a slow process in the making, but, you know, I think that's a good thing because I had time to make mistakes in the privacy of my own home and my own 4-track.
Yeah, which I suppose is a luxury that, you know, not a lot of people have when there's that kind of rush on to get a first album out, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I wanted to make sure that I was, you know, I wanted just to make sure that what I'm putting out there is something I'm proud of and that it's not something I'm rushing or doubting or doing it for the sake of it. I wanted to make a record that I was ultimately, I'm proud of, yeah.
Yeah. The writing process for this record, did you go into the recording sessions with a clear idea of, you know, a handful of songs that you wanted to record, or did you kind of work out some of it in the process?
Interesting. It was interesting how how the record came about, to be honest, because I was, you know, I've been writing quite a lot of songs, and I'd ultimately, when I started writing songs for this record, most of the songs I wrote during the recording process, to be honest. You know, there were sort of half-finished ideas that I finished, you know, that I wrote last year, and then there was a couple of songs 100 years from now and Mouths to Feed that I wrote for the Citizens Band, you know, a couple of years ago.
How much did your time, I mean, the Citizen Band is obviously something I imagine you'll still do, but did a lot of the songs do feel like they were really influenced by that kind of cabaret?
Yeah, I mean, I love Kurt Weill and Irving Berlin, and there's just, you know, those wartime songs, there's just so much beauty and melancholy in them that it just, yeah, they really moved me.
And, well, in some way it must have been a great kind of musical, not so much an education, but just to be able to perform all those songs with the Citizens Band.
Yeah,
you know.
It was a real education. That's absolutely what it was. I mean, absolutely. I mean, the people in the Citizens Band are really talented, and they taught me a ton. They really did. Yeah.
So for somebody who, you know, as a first recording session goes, how did you find putting the album together, coming from that background of just, you know, recording something here and there on your own 4-track? Or,
you know, it was actually really enjoyable. It was actually not so different. I hate to say that, but it wasn't, because we recorded it over the period of last year. It was just a few days here and there in the studio throughout the course of the year. So it wasn't that I was in the studio for a month and, you know, day after day. It was actually, I mean, it was a big part of my life, obviously, last year, but it was, you know, I had time to sort of sit down and reflect upon songs. If I didn't like something, if I felt like a song needed something more, I could have maybe a few weeks to think about that, which is a real luxury.
Yeah. Do you find, because you live in Nashville now, is that an inspiring place to live musically? It really
is. It's a beautiful place to live. It's just really, you know, it's very, for lack of a better word, it's just wholesome. You know, I lived in New York for so long, and I love New York more than anything. But I think having kids, it feels like a good place to raise them.
Yeah, and there are a few kind of countrified touches on the album. Would you be interested in?
There are, and it's definitely influenced by Nashville, I'm sure.
Yeah, would you go more country, trad country in the future?
I don't know, to be honest. I have no idea. It's hard to even think about, and you know, next record at this point, because I've just got, you know, I'm so absorbed in just this right now that I feel like I need to, I need to
be in it.
Go out and perform live and, take the right, just, once the tour's all done, then I can start thinking about new songs.
Are you enjoying playing the album live?
Yeah, I mean, it's scary, absolutely. I don't know. It's definitely very daunting, but I adore it. I really do. I love performing live. It's wonderful.
Is part of that the kind of, that the shock of going from being in an environment, whether it's writing or recording, where you really are in your own headspace, to then it becoming something that, other people can pass judgment on?
It's interesting putting, as a model, I've only had to answer to the way I look, which really, that's just whatever, to be honest. I don't really think about that, but being sort of judged upon my musical skills or my songwriting skills, or even just the record, which obviously means so much to me, it's an interesting, I try and sort of keep a healthy distance, because I really, really enjoy this more than anything else, and I want to just preserve that feeling for as long as I can. And I think it's really easy if someone sort of passes a negative judgment to sort of, we all say, oh, it doesn't matter, but, you're only human, and you can only, you know as well as I do, any negative criticism sticks.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to keep a healthy distance, and I'm sure people are going to, judge at times and maybe have an opinion with the fact that I'm a model and Jack's wife. And, of course, I understand. I mean, I totally get that, but I'm just not going to read what those judgments are.
That sounds like a very good idea. So is there any chance that you'll bring it down to Australia anytime soon?
I'd love to. I would really love to. I would love to. I mean, bring me over.
All right. I'll make some calls. My people talk to your people.
Please.